Broadcasting the information the mainstream media won't touch. This is The Richie Allen Show in association with DavidIke.com.
If you've been listening to this program a long time, you'll know that forced adoption and stolen children is an issue that I've covered, and this program has covered since meeting Emma Ibbitson, the director and producer of Traffic, about a year and a half ago. Thousands of children are taken from their parents every year in Britain in what has become an absolutely mammoth industry. It's £1 billion industry a year. This happens through secret courts nearly all the time. In fact, pretty much all the time. The parents whose child has been taken are not given access to the evidence that social services has provided to the family court judge. It's terrible. Our next guests were on the programme about 2 months ago. When their child was born in February, he was taken from them after only 5 days. They had brief visitation with him. His name is Santiago. And they last saw him on March the 4th. We got into that last time we were on the programme and the horrific circumstances surrounding his kidnapping, I suppose is the only way to put it. They've gotten back in touch with the programme to say there's been developments. Amongst other things, they have been to Portugal, as the child's mother, Iolanda, is Portuguese, to seek help from the government there. I want to welcome back to the programme Leon Edwards and Iolanda Souza, who are on the line to us now. Leon and Iolanda, welcome back to the programme. I hope you're well. How are you?
Hi, Richie.
Hi, Richie.
Hi, Richie.
How are you doing then? It's been about 8 weeks since you were on. The story broke our hearts. It really did. It broke the hearts of our listeners. It's dreadful. What's happened since you've been on the programme?
Hi, Richie. So, has broken many hearts in England only through your radio, because no other journalist has the courage to talk about this. So this weekend you guys celebrated 90 years of dictatorship, and we only got Portuguese journalists, magazines and TV, and everyone has been sharing these on the news in Portugal. We have done interviews today, and there is another interviews on TV book already. And everyone is completely shocked in Portugal regarding what's going on in England.
As they should be, because you're a Portuguese national, and this sort of thing really doesn't go on to the extent that it goes on in Britain. I mean, I know it goes on elsewhere, but not anywhere near on the scale of this. So this is a good development then, Iolanda. The Portuguese media are running with the story. What about the Portuguese authorities? What about politicians? What have they had to say about it?
So today I have contacted the office for the president, and they have all the documentation that I have sent to them, and they are studying the case, and I have been told by the end of this week I will have a reply. And everything they will tell me, if good news or bad news, the Portuguese public, they will know. And I'm quite concerned regarding the attitude of the government, because Portugal has been an old friend of England for many centuries. And we had experience with Madeleine McCann, and we did see the pressure from the English government when English child went missing. And so now, being a Portuguese baby, I'm quite concerned and curious regarding what the Portuguese government they are going to do.
Leon, I want to bring you in at this point, because we should never assume knowledge, and there very well may be people listening to the programme who didn't hear us speaking a couple of months ago. Do you want to very briefly, I know it's difficult to be brief, but let's be as brief as we can, just give us the basic bullet points, Leon, of what happened that led to Santiago being taken away?
So yeah, we had a home birth. We contacted the NHS previously, and running up to the birth, we were visiting the NHS midwifery service at the surgery, local surgery. So on the day of the birth, I called the midwife line, the labour line. No one was available. at that point in time. And then 4 hours later, a midwife turned up 10 minutes before the birth. Now, I do want to stress, we do believe that what happened next is the reason why social services were called. Well, what happened is we had a natural birth in a birth pool, and I cut the cord, and then Iolanda moved to birth the placenta, and the midwife, she pulled the placenta that was still hanging from Iolanda, the umbilical cord. She pulled it twice, and after that, Iolanda bled and hemorrhaged so severely that she lost 2 litres of blood and was rushed to hospital.
But the midwife didn't want to attend. She was more concerned about the car. We won't name her at this point. I know we did previously, and I know this adds up, but she's not here to defend herself. But this is the story. She was more concerned about the car parked where it was. She might get a ticket. In fact, the paramedics who attended the scene had to insist on the midwife attending Iolanda in the ambulance going to the hospital.
They commanded her to come with.
So this is incredibly stressful and horrible at the time, right?
Yes.
So you get to the hospital. Go on.
So Iolanda goes to the hospital, and she goes into theatre to have the placenta removed by hand. She comes out, and I have the baby in my arms, waiting for her. My baby is not a patient in the hospital; he's just in my arms. While I'm waiting for Iolanda, they're coming to see me, asking for details of my baby, like what is the name of the baby, like repeatedly for like 2 or 3 hours every 10, 15.
They're very
minutes,
insistent on this, yeah.
wanting the details. So anyway, Iolanda comes out and she goes into recovery. Through the night she recovers, and then the next morning she wants to go home and recover, we managed to get discharged. So we come home, we have the one night with our baby, and the next day it just starts, people coming to our door unannounced. We didn't know how these things work. We weren't informed a midwife will come and knock our door unannounced. And Iolanda was just exhausted from the whole thing, the whole experience, and she just wants to rest. So
and the baby was absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with the baby.
Yes.
You wanted to go home and, get on with looking after the child and raising the child. But they start turning up and they start saying, well, we want to come in and we want to check the child and this sort of stuff. Iolanda says no. What happens then? Remind our listeners what happened then.
So yes, these various midwives turn up and we don't let them in. And then a doctor comes unannounced saying, I want to come in, not a normal way of communicating to us.
Doctor brought a police officer, if I'm right in remembering.
The police officer comes and sees our baby and he says it's fine. It seems everything's fine. And then
the police officer actually said to you, look, the police officer was embarrassed and said, show us the child through the window. You, in a bizarre, I can only imagine how bizarre the scene was. So you show the police officer, young Santiago, through the window. Police officer says, I can't believe they're wasting my time with this, and off he goes.
Yeah, off he goes, and we feel we think everything's fine, and we start receiving calls and answer machine messages saying that we must be at the hospital by 5 p.m.
In Princess Anne Hospital.
In the Princess Anne Hospital, Southampton, which we've since found out is a foundling hospital. People can go and look at that. It's a foundling hospital. People know.
There was nothing wrong with him, so their insistence that you return to the hospital was bizarre and unexpected.
Yes. So they want us there by 5 p.m. We received the text. We read the text at 4:30. So
we went to Lillian's house to try to get a nurse, to midwife, a private midwife, to confirm that the baby was fine and to put everyone at ease that was nervous and call the police. And the Southampton Hospital was not allowing a private midwife to go and check the baby. So they were very concerned with the baby, but not really allowing anyone to see the baby. What they really wanted was the baby to go straight to Southampton Hospital, where after the social service and the police, they took him with force.
And they said at this stage, didn't they, that that the child was running a fever, or the child wasn't well, and that you were insisting on preventing doctors or health care people seeing him, and that because of that you were basically a risk to him, and this is why they took him.
Yeah,
The baby developed jaundice on
Jaundice, which of course Iolanda is.
Yeah.
We all got it. We all got it when we were babies, didn't we?
Friday. On the day after Friday, the baby then has been taken to the hospital, and a private midwife, that is our testimony, she did saw that the baby was well, but Dr. Alok Sharma, the one that saw the baby in the hospital, did say that the baby was very unwell, and the jaundice was so severe that was in a serious risk of brain damage.
But you don't buy that, Iolanda, because he didn't have the symptoms that would suggest that he had an extreme reaction to the jaundice. He wasn't. His skin wasn't that bad. He wasn't really in any distress.
It's quite common for breastfed babies to get jaundice.
Yeah.
He made it. He said it was worse than what it was, what it actually was. You know, the midwife. We had a private midwife who looked at our baby just before this doctor saw him.
And like that, they took him. At this point, Leon, I want to mention something that we didn't get into last time. I just want to get it out of the way. When you were on first, we spent a good long time. The day you came on, we had a really good pre-interview chat. And you were very forthcoming about your business. That doesn't really have anything to do with Iolanda, but you were involved in promoting something called MMS, Miracle Mineral Supplement, which I don't want to get into because I've covered it on this program before, and I don't know what it is or what it isn't. I've had both sides of it on. I've had Amanda Mary Jewell on the program talking about it, and I've had a woman from Ireland called Fiona O'Leary on talking about it. I've got both sides of it. I don't know anything about it. And what you have done is your business, and that isn't illegal in this country. But when we spoke, I've got to ask this, when we did speak, one or two people who campaign against this MMS accused me of concealing facts, which I didn't, or anything like it. In fact, the following night I mentioned that we'd spoken about it. Do you think that, Leon, that your former business, that has anything whatsoever to do with why I want to get this out of the way, with why the social services targeted your family and Santiago?
I do believe it has a big part to play in it, yes.
But they never accused you. They never said to you, did they? Leon, have you considered, or would you consider giving this product to your baby? This never came up, though. Verbally, it was never mentioned to you.
No, it wasn't, no.
At the end, Richie, if this MMS is for autism or for cancer or whatever it is, at the end, the baby was 5 days old and never had cancer and never had autism.
No, and nobody could credibly claim that you had any plans on giving it to your baby. Iolanda, remind us what you do for a living, by the way, because it's interesting.
I work in cardiology. Richie, at the end, the person that sells alcohol is not going to... Then no one is going to remove the children from them, afraid that their man is going to give alcohol to the babies.
Listen, you're absolutely right. And the reason I wanted to mention it, I want to say two things about MMS. I want to reiterate, I know very little about it, other than what Amanda Mary Jewell told me and what Fiona O'Leary and journalists in Ireland told me. We've gotten both sides of it on the programme. I don't endorse anything. I have no idea what it does or what it doesn't do. Leon was very honest when we did the pre-interview last time. Honest makes it sound like he had something to be ashamed of. He didn't. He said, look, I've been targeted in the past because I have promoted this particular product. We just didn't get into it because we ran out of time. It was incredible. Listening to what happened last time out, we didn't get into that. But I just wanted to bring it up because I wanted to ask you about that. And so, Leon, you do believe that even though it hasn't been communicated to you, you believe that this is playing some part in the abduction of Santiago.
Yeah, this MMS is not illegal in any country in any world.
No, it isn't. No,
MMS is not lethal. No one's died from it. People can go and check the Environmental Protection Agency's own bureaucracies will show it's safe, and also the Poison Index will show it as safe.
But you know what the tragedy is, Leon, and Iolanda spoke eloquently about this last time. In these secret family courts, if I'm the social worker, I can put on paper that you are a madman, Leon, and that I believe that you're going to give this to your baby and you're a danger, and you do not get to see that information.
Yes.
This is the tyranny of it. You are convicted and labelled before. Now, this might not have happened, I don't know, but it's a possibility. And you don't get to argue with these people. You don't get to go, excuse me, that's a business, got nothing to do with my baby at all. Our baby, I should say. He's not been given anything. He's fine. This is wrong. You don't get to see that.
Do you know what, Richie? We would have what they call contact. We would have 90 minutes with our baby. Two contact practitioners would be there with us, and they would sit there and take notes and assess us and things. Well, we found out by asking them, we said the very practitioners are the foster carers as well. The very people that are sitting there assessing us about are we good enough parents are the people that get paid £500 a week to foster the children.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I urge people to go to forcedadoption.com. The terrific Ian Josephs, based in France. He's been on this programme, a learned scholar, an Oxford University educated and law graduate who says exactly what Leon said. There is an incentive, a financial incentive for these fuckers, excuse my language, to foster your child. And the families get paid £500 a week per child fostered. And people can't see the links.
It's tax-free, we found out as well.
I didn't know that, Iolanda.
Children, they can have 4 children. And that £500 is per baby.
Per child baby.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right, yeah.
That's a good salary, isn't it? Why have I been studying cardiology? I could just be taking care of babies.
You'd be taking other people's children.
And we've also found out by asking these practitioners, particularly the ladies, we say to them, have you got children of your own? And all the women ones, they all said no. So all these women don't have children, so they want other people's children, and they want to be paid. They want to be paid.
I'm going to answer a question that's coming in from a great friend of mine and a big addition to the programme. She helps with production, Jean Ann Crowley in Dublin, in Ballyochley in Dublin, in Ireland. Jean Ann is asking, have they got a solicitor? Can't they get some sort of parental rights order? And as learned as Jean Ann is, what she doesn't understand, because nobody can really understand or believe this is going on, you have no rights. You have no recompense. The minute the social services, the child protective people tell a judge in secret that you are a danger to your child, and that judge signs off that order, there is no comeback. There is no appeals process. I'm not trying to make you depressed now, you guys. You know, I'm optimistic for you, but I'm explaining because most of our listeners don't get this. We get emails, oh, they must have done something wrong. Or if they didn't do something wrong, they'll be okay. They'll sort it out legally. There is no legal recourse to these bastards. This is the problem. Christopher Booker has written about this in The Telegraph. He's the only journalist. Iolanda, tell me this. Do I understand, you don't have to mention the newspaper, do I understand that a tabloid newspaper of note came and saw you and spent time with you and took all the details, but is not going to run the story?
Yeah, he did not run the story with the justification that no one would allow that person to publish regarding MMS. So they have interviewed us, they have taken pictures of us, of the baby, pictures, everything, but at the end they did not do anything at all.
Do you know what, Iolanda? Can I just intervene there? Let's pretend for a second that MMS is dangerous. I don't know what it is. Let's just pretend it is. Let's pretend that it's dangerous and it's stupid and it's foolish. Let's pretend that maybe even it isn't, but it's snake oil. Let's just pretend that for a second. That's no justification to say to you, you've got nothing to do with that. You've got a credible, you know, you're a credible woman, you're an educated woman, you're a cardiophysiologist, you know what you're doing. It's just not justification. So for the tabloid reporter to say that is a disgrace. Doesn't matter. Let the Fiona O'Learys and all those who campaigned against MMS, and I respect their opinion, they can scream from the rooftops all they want. That is no justification for taking your child.
Richie, after all of this since February, now I know that actually this is not about MMS, and even the social service, they even said on my face, we did not know anything about Leonardo.
And yet Leon suspects it, and I can understand that. So you're kind of in disagreement there. You don't think it is.
No, and I will tell you why. 25,000 children in the UK are taken from parents per year. On the 31st of March 2015, about 70,000 children were in care. Adoptions in 2014, David Cameron said that they have increased 63%. There was last year 30 children that have been taken from Portuguese parents. Until now, and we are only in April, 17 children that have been taken from Portuguese parents. Are these people selling bleach?
Yeah. I'm going to let me read a few tweets. Understandably, no doubt, you won't be surprised at lots of tweets. Can I read a few tweets and then I'll get out of your way then. Eduardo says, like Brave New World, we're all destined to be bred in laboratories. I find it beautiful to have a home birth, he says. Huberte says, how do you think they were going to keep the housing bubble going? I've seen it for years, people buying houses on foster money, says Hubertes, speaking to the point already made by Iolanda, that this is a £1 billion a year industry. Forced-adoption.com is Ian Joseph's website. Dear listener, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not on a crusade here. I'm not ranting. Listen to me carefully. If these people come knocking at your door, don't let them in. If you are pregnant and they start expressing concern to you about previous mental health issues you had or problems you had when you were a teenager or a young adult, get out of the country. Get out of the country and go to the Republic of Ireland or go to France. That's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're dealing with. And it kills me listening to this story is that this couple didn't know that. You know, they had no idea. Most people don't know till it lands on their face. Wayne says, worse again, a lot of children in care foster are abused in huge numbers. I've worked with these people. Yeah, and I'm going to be speaking to somebody who was fostered on this programme soon, who talks about the indifference that foster parents have to the foster children. They only see them as a cash cow. Loads of tweets coming in. It's at Richie Allen Show. Jane says, how, when and who sanctioned secret family courts? Surely this is tyranny. It's certainly not democracy. It's disgusting. It's heartbreaking, Iolanda. It's heartbreaking.
Richie, if from the 70,000 children that they are in care, what is written is that 10,000 children in care go missing.
That's absolutely right. And those statistics are on Ian Joseph's website, forced-adoption.com. That's 100%. Over 10,000 go missing while in care. That's right.
Some are victims of sexual abuse. They scream for help and no one cares. Some of them, they hang themselves. And I do not know if my baby has been being abused. I know that this is a forced adoption business. I know that England is selling babies for adoption. I know this is trafficking of babies, child trafficking. And I do know that in England that the final hearing is not anymore the 10th of June, and now is the 20th of May.
And is this also on a pathetically put together document with bad syntax, bad grammar? Is it another one of these documents? Or is it a properly produced document?
We do not have not even one single document that is a proper document.
So even the one that says the final hearing is going to be on May or June, that one itself is another shabby, terribly written document. What in the name of Jesus is going on? Let me do a recap here. Leon Edwards and Iolanda Souza are on the programme. It's 14 minutes to the top of the hour. They first came on with me about 2 months ago to talk about the horrific reality. Their horrific reality. Their child taken from them 5 days after he was born under terrible and bizarre circumstances. The last time they saw him was on the 4th of March. They've been screaming from the rooftops to get press attention to this in Britain and in Portugal, where Iolanda comes from. The Portuguese television and newspapers and radio stations are interested, and they have conducted interviews with them, but they can't get any interest in it outside of the independent media here in Britain. We're talking about secret family courts where social workers, where child protection officers can make an appeal to a family court judge or make a recommendation that your child is taken away from you because you are a this or you are a that or you are the other. You do not get to see the evidence presented against you. The secret family court judge then decides to believe the social worker. Sure, why wouldn't you? Your child is gone. That's not conspiracy theory. That's going on in England today. 20,000 children a year are stolen from their parents. Yes, some people are abusing children, and those children need to be protected, but those cases are in the minority. We've got about 5-6 minutes left on this, Iolanda and Leon. Look, it's not my job to depress you or to put you down or to make you feel miserable. But you can issue all the writs against these guys. You can act for yourself. These bastards have it locked down. They just say, this is the law. We've made the decision. It's been done. You don't get access to the evidence. None of that. Go away is what they're going to tell you. Go away and get on with your life. How do you face up to that, and how do you take that on?
We expose these bastards. We expose Judge Black, Judge Vesey, Tina Ravina Cool Verdi, Caroline Sullivan, Mr. Justice Baker, Kim Drake, Alison Lee Smith, Margaret Pine Coffin, David Wicks, Richard Ivory, Stephanie Simpson, Sean Goff, Lucy Paris, Catelyn Marek, Anita Gray, Colin McPherson, Paula Thomas, this whole fucking gang of people stealing children in Southampton. That's how we do it. We expose these bastards.
Because a friend of mine, Iolanda, before you come back in, a friend of mine said this to me the other day. They said the best that you can hope for as a program, as a radio program, the best you can hope for is that listening to you and Iolanda, as horrendous as this is, that it educates people. You know, that somebody who's having a child now or about to have a child and they've already been targeted. You know, you've had mental health issues and you did this and you were in jail and you've taken drugs before. These are all the signs that they're going to take your child when the child is born. Educate people. When they start down this road, get the fuck out of Britain. Go to Ireland, Spain or France. It's as simple as that. I hate this. I hate talking about this.
I am very optimistic. I have the federal judge, David Windmiller, with me, and I have the proof of everything that he has been doing, and what he says is true, because I can tell you that I had a surprise court hearing on the 14th of March. I came from London from doing the Facebook and the interview on YouTube, and we had a surprise court hearing on the 14th of March. We did represent ourselves. We had only 2 papers, and they were shitting themselves with what we were reading. I can tell you that only by 2 papers that they were done, how David Windmiller said to us to do it, and they were shitting themselves. The judge did not want to come into court
She stayed in her chambers.
And she did say, get out, and we have to see another case. And I can tell you the only thing that I was reading was, for the avoidance of perjury, show me the laws, rules, codes, titles, regulations, written in the correct sentence, structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. And I read to them after when the judge came inside the court and after they thrown us out, because I read to them, I spoke with Federal Postal Judge David Wynne-Miller, and the English Crown made him Federal Land Court Judge, and the United Nations has him listed as a plenipotentiary judge. He can cause you a lot of embarrassment if you want him to. He will bring sanctions against England and cut your resources. I could see all their faces, and even the security man that threw me out, and Leonardo, he was a big man, but he was shaking like hell. And I can tell you, Richie, I will have Santiago back, because I'm not going to shut myself. And fucking England, you better be careful, because there is not just me and Leonardo, there is a world that wants England burning in hell, because we had enough of fucking pedophiles abusing children. I love my baby, and in Portugal we love babies, and the world love babies, and we had enough of this dictatorship that England has. God bless the Queen.
I tell you what, the best of luck to both of you. Stay in touch with me and with Claire, our producer, and whenever there's anything to update our listeners with, let us know. I wish you the best of everything, both of you. All the luck in the world. And again, not that it means anything to you, I'm terribly sorry that we live in a world where this happens to people. Look after yourselves, both of you, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, ironically, what I said is ironically, and I hate England. I just want my baby from England, and Portugal is where I want to live, and definitely is where we have lots of love, and none of that is written on the process. Carol Stone, she almost tried to kill me, and she's not on the process. My parents, they said that they are more than welcome to receive the baby if they keep lying about the parents, and none of that is written on the process. Why? Because the social services, they are stealing babies, and they want to sell my baby. But I can tell you, Richie, they will not sell my baby.
Leonardo and Iolanda, thanks very much for coming back on the programme. That's where we have to leave that.